All right. Hello. Good morning. Yeah, I haven't streamed for a while. I think before the summer, I just got a bit. Maybe it's my like capacity to do different things because things got a bit more intense at work. So I just didn't feel like streaming anymore. I just like got completely depleted. Um, but that's fine. Like I don't really commit myself to like self commit to stuff because I easily get like I'm very much of a up and down person. Like I'm super pumped or I'm like not interested. So one thing is in my professional life, where there's different factors that goes into my motivation, but it's when it's like self-induced projects, I just let it flow. So if I'm super pumped, I work on it. If I'm not, it's perfectly fine, and I don't feel bad about it. But anyways, so something happened before the summer, and I think it actually happened before that, but nobody really knew about it. And that is something I've been waiting for a long time. Ever since AI first started happening, and I played around with coding agents, like even back in GPT 3.5, I was waiting for this moment where you didn't have like an LLM as a process, like just inference of an LLM, but an actual agent that had tool calling, could search on the web, everything, but it's just a process. And what happened is that Claude Code, the CLI tool, was released, but kind of secretly in the background without anyone really knowing, I think. They actually made it possible to run it as a process. And that kind of made it click for me because that means we can create a new suite of applications. And maybe I should just show it to you first, and then we can talk about like how I think about the space we're in and everything. So I'm like, I don't have any ambitions of like starting a company or anything like that. Um, I passed this by my like the founder. I'm not sure what his title is at Together AI. Um, just to make sure that it's okay that I have this side project and it doesn't interfere with my work because I want to work at together with other people in a stable workplace. I have small kids. Even though I think I have the experience to take on doing like a startup, um, I know it's a shit ton of work and it just doesn't fit me right now. Maybe in a few years I could do something like that. But this thing I've been waiting for, like agent as a process, it needs to happen now. So I built the product and then uh, we'll see what happens. Like maybe no one understands what this is or doesn't find it useful at all. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so Coldbots and like naming for me, it's like a company doesn't survive or die by its name. Like it doesn't matter what it's called. Coldbots with the C was taken. Codebot was taken, and I wanted it to emphasize like the most important thing for me is the name reflects my intention. Or communicate what I mean about the service. So what we're using now in AI is that we have this personal coding assistant, but that's like a synchronous, like almost human to human emulation kind of thing. But I want this to be about like many tiny bots actually contributing to whatever code you want it to contribute to asynchronously. So it's more like bots than having an assistant. Anyways, so the point is that we're in this space now where AI is being applied to this synchronous engineer or even human to agent interface. And this is very powerful, right? We, as engineers, we use this in our IDEs. We're seeing all these services popping up, enabling people that doesn't know how to code to actually build things, which is great. But nobody has really tackled like head-on automating, using AI to automate tasks within like big engineering projects. Like there's millions of projects out there that can benefit from AI. But currently, the way I understand it is that the way we use AI in existing projects now is that we individually have these assistants in our IDEs. So the point here is that I should really draw this. Let me just talk through this. You know, I didn't plan anything, so just let me talk. So there's two things you do as an engineer. You're working with other people. There's a mission at the company. There's a product you're going to build. You're trying to solve human user challenges, finding solutions, testing, iterating, talking, discussing, all of this stuff, right? This is a very human process. And this is what we're looking for in engineers. We don't care if you don't have that ability to work within that part of engineering, then you're not a good engineer. It doesn't matter how good you are at coding. If you're not able to collaborate and have a product focus and all of that, then like you're not that good of an engineer. But then there's this other part. Another part of that is like actually architecting a solution, finding the technology you want to use, and all of that stuff, right? And then the other part is when you have actually implemented something and it's just this stream of like bug fixes that needs to happen. You need to update documentation, you need to refactor stuff. And these kinds of tasks, they don't require this human context that the human is really good at managing. Like, because we're like out in the world interacting with people, building up our own context, which is really, really hard for AI to do. What an AI is really good at, though, is collecting code context, much better than a human. So if you let a code agent free roam in a repo, it can very easily now figure out where the code is, how the code is structured, and all of that. And it can contribute to code when all it has is the code, right? So you're giving it a task. It only needs the existing code to figure out how to solve that task. It can go online, find documentation and stuff like that. But the kind of tasks I'm talking about here is like tasks that can be solved within the bounds of the repo. And those tasks are typically boring for humans. Like the exciting thing about being an engineer is trying to solve problems, not fix bugs. Those are two very different things. So that's what this project is trying to like emphasize, is that there is an opportunity for all existing repositories to hand off these like maintenance tasks to an AI agent while you spend your time being the proper engineer that you are and giving the most value to the company. Because that's another aspect of this, is that it's actually the price per minute of an engineer is actually quite high. So this is an interesting thought experiment. Again, I should have drawn this, but let me just talk through it. So I did a little bit of research, and the cost of an engineer per minute is about $1.2. And if you spend that money trying to solve things like bug fixes, documentation, code refactors, things that AI agents are really, really good at, like they're at least as good as an engineer, but they do it faster and typically they do it better. But the cost is lower, right? You don't pay $1.2 per minute for an AI to do this. So there's a huge cost saving of doing that. And for the individual engineers, they are freed up time to do the stuff that is actually exciting. I need to kind of put this in here somewhere, I think. anyways, at least I got to talk through it. But there's another thing. So one thing is going in and like just adding tasks. Another thing is completely automating it. So in this solution, when you have admin access to repo, you can go in, or to an organization, you can go in and you can click the repos where you want automatic PR reviews and suggestions. So every time there's a PR that pops up, a bot is triggered, it goes in, it checks the PR, and then it suggests improvements. And the really cool thing about that is that it doesn't just push it. Like, the whole thing here is that these AI agents or these bots are running in sandboxes, and anything they do stays within the sandbox unless you explicitly push it to the actual repo. So it's completely decoupled, which is really, really good. Another thing that these things can do is act on issues. So you can just paste any issue, even like open source issues, and just run a bot on it. And it will go read the issue and then suggest a change there. And I think this has the opportunity to really change open source and contributing to open source, because now imagine you're using some kind of dependency and something's wrong. What you're able to do now is that you can just go in here and you can create an issue on that repo through this service. But what you're doing is that you're not just adding the issue, you're also triggering a bot that's gonna suggest a change to the maintainer of that open source repo. So you're giving so much more value. Instead of just like complaining about a problem, you're actually suggesting a solution, and you've spent money on it, right? You've actually invested in trying to help fix the problem. You didn't do it with your time, but you did it with your money, which is just as good as your time, right? That's the thing about AI. It's like we're exchanging money for time. Anyways, and the really cool thing is that when that maintainer sees that issue and sees the suggestion, they can just click a link and they'll jump into this service, they'll see what the agent did, and they can just click a button and it will push the branch the bot created on that open source repo up to the actual repo. So there's no forking, anything like that. You just create an issue, automate the suggestion, the maintainer can go straight into that sandbox, push the changes up, and create a PR from it, which I think can, like, I want to say, like, revolutionize open source contributions. At least that's my dream. And as I said, all of these changes are applied inside a sandbox environment where the agent doesn't have any access to push or do anything. It can't operate within the actual repos on GitHub, but it operates locally in the sandbox. And then you as a user, you are the one that connects to the sandbox with your Git credentials and push it to the repo or create a PR. So it supports like individuals if you just want to do some tasks, or it can be used for open source projects, as I mentioned, or even organizations can go in and install the GitHub app and then allow all the employees to go in and use this. Whoa, that was a long introduction without any visuals. That was a bit rough. But let's go in and see what happens here. So I've run this on running this on Firebase. So actually, this whole service is vibe coded during my vacation. It's kind of insane. So I was using Claude Code to build this, and I don't think I've written a single line of code, which is insane. Well, yeah, maybe I did write some of the code for the actual agent process inside the sandbox. But yeah, so what you can see here is that when you sign in, it's gonna ask for some permissions. It's gonna ask for like organizations that you want to list here. And then it also needs access to like create issues on your behalf. So here you can see that I have my own organization. We have Code Sandbox, and also I'm able to manage the GitHub app to adjust what the agent should have access to, right? So this is the tricky thing about GitHub authentication. It's like you have your OAuth, which is like, what should I be able to read from your like GitHub data like, as your user? And then you have the GitHub app that you install so that we can generate like read tokens for the bot, and so on. So you can manage all of that here. And then on the far right, you can see that I have two sets of credits. So on my personal account, this was basically for testing, is that you have your personal credits. You always have your personal credits, and you can apply those credits wherever you want, on any organization, to any open source issue, like it doesn't matter. But on an organization, if you have admin access, you can also create an organization account and apply credits there, so that anyone that has access to the organization can use those credits. So that means like for a company with multiple engineers, they could fill up credits for that organization so that the engineers could use those credits. That's kind of the idea. I've also thought about the ability to fill up credits on open source organizations. So that's also a way to contribute to open source, is just giving like the thing is like, if you sponsor a maintainer, you don't know where that money goes, right? But if you sponsor a maintainer of a repo or an organization through a service like this, you know that money will go to making that project better directly. So that's also a benefit. Oh, I should have brought some water. Anyways, so that's the idea there. And then we have tasks where I can go in and I can like do some task. And currently I've only allowed for one repo, and I can mention that repo and then do something. And as you can see, we already done something here. I have this test task. And when I open this thing, what's gonna happen, let's see if we can see it here. We can see that only I can see this task and its messages. And it's also connecting to the sandbox. This is a really old sandbox now, so I'm a little bit unsure if it's able to connect to it. But yeah, we're gonna test running this, or it's gonna take a very long time. That's what I mean. It's probably been archived. Yeah, there we go. Let's wait for it. Okay, cool. So what happens here, and what you're seeing here now, is the actual prompt I made to the agent on the sandbox. And we just list everything it did. So whatever it said, whatever tool calling it did, and then the final result message. And then you can also see any to-dos the agent made for itself. Like this is just, I haven't built the agent. This is Claude Code running as a process, just spewing out messages that I'm just translating into this relatively okay UI. And it says it's done. It took 28 turns a minute, and it cost $1.3, which is the cost of actually running Claude, plus the cost of running the VM, plus an overhead for me reviewing the work, because I'm going to trigger the VM again beyond this 1 minute, because I want to look at it, evaluate it, and then potentially push it. So I'm not sure about like the I was about to say algorithm or the formula for cost here. That's something I need to explore, but at least I want to make sure I'm not losing money on this. Okay, so that's that, and then I can go into diff, And we can see the changes it actually made. And the cool thing here is that it didn't find this repo based on the prompt I made. It doesn't like list because I mentioned this repo, that's why the repo is here. It's actually looking at the sandbox, finding any repos. So that means that if there's a task that's going to go cross repos, it will actually list all the repos in the sandbox here, and you can act on changes on each of those repos. So I find this interesting because we've gotten into this mono repo culture, which has a lot of issues and challenges. But here you're actually able to have like separate repos. You can mention all of them in your prompt, and it will actually go in and clone all of them, and you can look at the changes in each repo and push there. So it states which branch the agent created, and it also gives the git state. So in this case, it has committed some changes, and I can push those changes remotely if I want to do that, and then I can create a PR from that. Currently, it also goes into each repo and finds any scripts. So you can run these scripts if you want to do that. Maybe I can try running that, see what happens. Oh, that was weird. Yeah, I need to fix that. Yeah, by the way, I'm going to write down some stuff here while we play with this. Show terminal on closing tasks. So yeah, I built this to run a dev server. So not really to run the tests. So that's why I closed immediately. And I don't think I actually have any tests here. That's why you saw the CLI thingy there. Anyways, the point is here you can run any scripts, so any tests or whatever, or you can run a dev server. If you run a dev server, it will open the port. You can open the port here. You can look at the actual app and everything. Or you can go and open a terminal and look at it from here. Or you can actually open it in Web VS Code and look at the changes there. Oh, sorry. This was after. So I made it private. This was before I made it private. So I can't really. Okay, maybe I can just sign in here so you can at least see it. Let's see. Can I do that? Yeah, no, it's in an iframe. Sorry. The point is, you would normally see, if I do a new task, you would see VS Code Web running here. You would see the changes. You could actually push, you could review the changes in VS Code. You could push the changes from VS Code inside here if you wanted to do that. Personally, I don't like the Web VS Code experience. So what I'm looking forward to is when these sandboxes has SSH as a first class feature, because then you can open it in your local VS Code instead, which would be much better. Anyways, so that's just tasks. And then we have PR tasks. So here you can see I've activated it for the Firebase repo. And then we have issue tasks. And we're going to try this shortly, because now I can finally start applying this to real things and talk about it, which is cool. But before we do that, we can look at how credits work. So I have my personal credits here. I have my organization credits. And as I mentioned, I can only apply organization credits if I have admin access. And then you get like a full overview of all your usage records. So you get like full transparency. I think that's also a thing that's really important, is to have that transparency on your usage. And then any invoices, like filling up your account. Cool. Okay, so what I thought we could try, hopefully this works, because I found there's an issue I haven't responded to on Observer. Is it Mobex React Observer? No, I think it's the underlying repo. Or was it here? Yeah, this is it. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, this is going to be really interesting. See how the agent resolves this. So I'm just going to copy this. And see what it does. So I'm pasting this. It might take some time for it to do this. It's a rather big... I didn't get any... Because the thing is that this is not the actual... This repo is not where the actual fix should be applied. It should be applied to a dependency, which is also open source. So... okay, I'm just going to add it. And then we're going to see what happens. And the point here, the whole point of this is that you're actually not going to sit here and wait for this, right? You're going to go and do your human engineering work, the exciting stuff. This is where you just put something in, and then you go off and do something else, and then you get back and hopefully you have something running there. But we can go in now and we can see what it does. Oh, interesting. It cloned it. It cloned it in the workspace directory. It shouldn't do that. Make sure to always clone into a folder, never directly in the workspace. Yeah, and of course, whenever it gives a result, you can actually like continue talking to it. So it can continue its work on the sandbox if you want to do that. Click to view details. Oh, interesting. I can't really do that. Can you? No, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I was thinking I would talk about my intentions, or yeah, maybe we could. No, I really talked about everything. I kind of did that introductionally. So, but maybe I could kind of summarize what actually happened here. So, oh, we don't want to show. Yeah, let's do not show prompt. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, do not pass. Do not store the issue prompt. So we shouldn't really store the actual issue prompt, like repository context. Only the issue prompt. Well, no, maybe that's fine. Yeah, let's keep that. But it should probably be shown as markdown. What was I thinking about? Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Oh yeah, it was a web search. Web search. Click to show details. What details? Yeah, and as I said, this and this is the whole point. Yeah, maybe I can talk about that. So we're at this inflection point now where we started. Oh, interesting. Anyways, we started with AI in the IDE as auto suggestions, like powered up auto suggestions. And then we did get like the possibility to prompt an LLM directly in the IDE, but it didn't work very well. It couldn't do much. It could offer some guidance on specific lines of code. What does it do? A specific file, but it didn't really have code base awareness. That's something that's come along with tool calling, proper tool calling. And the agents have gotten so good now at using these low-level tools to figure out what the code base is about and interact with the code base. But to do any level of complexity of a task, it's gonna spend time. It's gonna spend time collecting context because it doesn't have the full code base in its memory, right? Every time you want to do something new, it has to go and collect context from the code base on how to achieve that task. And that just takes time. And then it needs to try to fix it. And then it needs to, and that doesn't take much time, right? That's what the LLMs are really good at. When it has the context, it's super fast at actually applying the changes. But when after it's applied the changes, it needs to verify that it actually works. So it starts running linters, type checkers. Maybe it even, like soon it will be able to, well, maybe already now, it will be able to actually run the app and go in and test it, right? And all of this stuff takes time. So I would expect like the one task I showed you was 1 minute, but like taking 15 minutes to do something, that's perfectly reasonable. Like imagine how much time you would spend trying to fix these kinds of issues. You wouldn't spend like 1 minute. You would at least spend 15 minutes and 5 minutes coffee break and then talking to a colleague and like, and again, like I mentioned these, like the cost of this. Oh, look at this. Based on my comprehensive root cause of your arm. Okay, root cause, the issue is confirmed. Does not exist as a published NPM. Oh. What? Oh. Doesn't it? How did I publish that? How did I actually publish this? Oh, that's weird. It does exist. Does exist. Wow, why did it think that this? That's weird. Well, it failed on that one. Oh, it does exist. So it actually figured it out. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Investigation results and okay, so it's done. So it spent 7 minutes and it actually cost me $8. Ah. You're absolutely correct. The issue is indeed ARM64 architecture compatible with the SVC plugin. Here's what I found. Exists and contains wasm binary for a specific. The wasm plugin is built using Rust with the target, and these can have architecture-specific key findings. The SVC plugin uses a compiled wasm binary that may not be compatible with ARM. The plugin is built with cargo build release. Silent failure on ARM64. To not be wrapped with, yeah. Contact the plugin maintainer to request. Hello, Adam. Use hybrid approach. I think we also should on issues create a better context on the result, that it will be a comment on the repo. By the way, what we can do here is we can try this. Oh, no, what happened? Why didn't it create an issue? No. I broke something. But might need additional targets for ARM64. Solution 2, use hybrid approach. Oh. Rebuilding. Interesting. But this is great, right? This is so interesting. Like, I hope they would actually go in and fix it, but it's acting on the issue. So yeah, and also I prompted to work within the context of this repo. So going on and like cloning a different repo. Yeah, no, it's a really good response. It's an amazing response. But why the hell didn't it actually add the comment? It's supposed to add a comment here. Firebase console. Let's see. My functions. Where's is it create issue? Oh, maybe it was just okay. It's gonna be the webhook. Where's the webhook? Webhook. GitHub webhook. Where's the Oh, I haven't worked on this for a while. I've been waiting for the project to be greenlit, so. But where the hell is my webhook? Didn't I call it webhook? I'm so confused. Stripe webhook, GitHub webhook, and then we have the actual webhook for set. Okay, now I'm. Oh, there it is. Oh my god. Let's see if it has an error. This is really nice, by the way. Yeah. 403. It says I don't have access to add the comment. Why does it say that? Resource not accessible by integration. I had an issue adding comments which was related to the actual so I was not what's it called, adding the correct permissions, but I am now. Didn't I add that? Let's check it. That sucked. Let's see. Developer settings. I'm not sure if you're supposed to see this. Let's just do this for now. All auth apps. Cobot. So what am I asking for here? Oh yeah, it's not here. It's in the actual code. Oh, let's see. 2 seconds. Let's see. Let me just check. Here we go. Oh, let me jump back in here. Sorry. Let's see. I'm just gonna double check the permissions I'm asking for. So this would be, where would this be? GitHub login screen. No, sorry, this is in the Firebase file. So I am asking for what? User. No, wait a minute. Is it too early? These GitHub permission stuff is killing me. No, wait, it's in the actual developer settings, GitHub apps. Okay, 2 seconds. Oh, maybe I can just do this on my other computer. That's easier. Let's see. GitHub. Anyways, the stream wasn't supposed to be about like fixing issues, but that was a permission issue. That's why. So what would normally happen there is that it would take all of this and it would, oh, sorry. It would take all of this stuff here and it would actually add it as a comment on the issue. So that means that the user would get information about what to do next, right? And I would get information about how to fix the issue. It did cost me $8 though. And it's interesting. Like, that's the thing I'm reflecting on now. Like, if I were to spend time on this task, the thing is, I have a subscription, right, to ChatGPT, so I could probably figure out that ARM thing quite easily. Yeah, I think in this case, it's definitely not worth the. Well, that's the thing. Like, $8 isn't much in engineering time. That's the point. But what did we say? Like 7 minutes. If an engineer costs, an actual human engineer cost is $1.2 per minute. Yeah. Would I spend 7 minutes researching? Yeah, I would definitely spend 7 minutes researching this. Yeah, so in this case, it's at least it isn't worse. I would say it's about the same time that I would spend trying to figure this out. And with my minute rate being $1.2, it's definitely not too expensive. But I wonder about, like, people aren't aware of this, right? The what do you mean, learn anything about the issue or about what was wrong? Or I get this becomes a little bit meta because we're trying to resolve actual issues and then there might be issues in the service itself. Yeah, but I have to fix that. I have to fix that permission issue. Fix permission issue for adding comments. Cool. And we also need to reload the balance on result, I think. Yeah, because now I have minus. Reload credits on result. What I'm finding with people using AI is that they just take the result and then next time also have to use. Yeah, like I don't think so. What's happening now, like I did discuss this before you jumped on, is like we're in this moment where we're using AI synchronously in the IDE and we're basically just sitting there waiting for it to respond. So there's like a double cost, right? There's the cost of the AI doing the work, but then there's the cost of this non-working engineer just sitting there waiting for the result. So it's like insanely expensive. And then there's the third cost, which is what you're talking about here, is just accepting that answer. So I don't think AI is best applied in this synchronous IDE process that we're doing now. I think engineers should be engineers and actually work and write code and do all that's outside the IDE context. But when it comes to maintenance tasks, like responding to issues, right? Instead of a user, like this person waited over a month for me to respond. If I had the possibility to just like trigger an AI on that issue to help that person, that's a good thing because the AI is gives a great response to that user, and it gives me context to go in and fix the issue if I need to fix it myself, or I can evaluate, no, I'm just going to shove that into an AI task because it's just a bug fix, right? I can spend my time elsewhere. I know the AI is good enough to fix that issue, and I can rather review it when it's done. But it's interesting, this cost analysis, because I think this is an important piece of building these new kinds of services that's popping up now, which are these asynchronous autonomous services, and where to apply them. But yeah, my goal is I want to spend time as an engineer on everything outside the IDE. And that goes into architecture and product development and all that good stuff. And then also actually implement like new features, right? But when it comes to all these like bug fixes, refactors, documentation, responding to user issues, reviewing other people's code, or getting a review on my own code, like letting AI help with that asynchronously, autonomously, I think is a really, really good thing. But yeah, I'm gonna do something about that cost analysis and put it on the front page to kind of at least like sell the thinking on it. Yeah, exactly. And I think so. Another thing, so it's what you like. You have tools, right? And it's what challenge you apply the tool to. And like this whole service is vibe coded. I haven't written almost a single line of code, which is insane. And I did it in my vacation, like with kids. And I wasn't like, my partner hasn't been upset with me doing this, right? You can imagine the time I would spend building this. I would spend every single minute of my vacation building this if I were going to do it myself. But with vibe coding, I was able to make it a reality after a couple of days. I had the first version running. Please try hack it. So yeah, I think when you want something quickly up and running to validate an idea, like this is really just validating an idea. This is not how I would actually implement it. If this idea gets validated, I would move in and actually implement things manually and set up the actual structure of the code and everything. But that's a good use case for vibe coding. But if I'm an engineer working for a company, working in a code base, I wouldn't vibe code a new feature. I could vibe code a proof of concept of that new feature, but I would, as an engineer, go in and write the actual code. And then rather use AI as like a first step review of that code. But I will have an actual human engineer doing the final review. And this is the thing, this is the challenge. Like, how do you... Yeah, I've prompted to only use functions. But this is the big challenge, is like, how do you get the trust, right? One thing is building something like Lovable, where it's easy to get trust from an end user because they aren't like engineers necessarily, and you're so like, it's so visual, right? The whole point is not to care about the code. But if you're gonna like penetrate the millions of existing projects out there and engineering teams and give them autonomous AI to help them focus on the task that requires their skill set, just being a freaking human, that's really, really difficult. So you have to be non-intrusive. So the way I hope this service could spread is actually through open source. So that's what I'm focusing on now, is like making this issue thing work really well. And then I'm just going to start like spending money on open source, on issues, existing issues. Just throw it in here, run the task, throw another issue, run the task. Just kind of overview it, see if it does a good thing. And that's how I'm intend to kind of spread it. And then if someone wants to try it for their company, they can try to use PR tasks. So they can automatically trigger like the AI to go and like review PRs. And the cool thing is that it's actually going to apply the suggested changes in the sandbox. So by just clicking a link on the comment on the PR, the engineer can go in and they can actually choose to push those changes directly to the PR if they want to. So there's non-intrusive, like everything lives in this service, and you explicitly choose to push it to the repo. And then when trust is gained there, oh, this is actually capable. It's actually like looking at my code and making improvement suggestions. And then at that trust level, you kind of have tasks where, okay, I'm actually gonna, instead of me going in and figuring out this bug, I'm just gonna mention it to the bot thingy here, and I'm gonna let it run with it. But it's not gonna create any PRs or anything. It's just gonna notify me when it's done, and I'm gonna look at it here, and if I'm happy about it, I'm gonna push it. And at some point, you have so much trust that maybe you want to automate that as well, like with Linear or something. But I think going through open source is going to be the best way in. Oh yeah, in a separate window. Yeah, because like the thing is, there's a window opening now. There's going to be a new set of AI tools, which is going to be similar to this. There's already a solution called All Hands. This is an open source solution. I don't think an open source solution for this works very well because there's so many dependencies to automating it. Like you need to have a persistent store. You need to have these sandboxes. You need to be running an agent. Like there's so many things that needs to come into play. And someone has to pay for it. Like how do you set up an account for the agent you want to use? How do you apply that agent to the actual sandbox you're going to use? How are you going to pay for the sandbox? How are you going to handle permissions? Like there's so many things that, but it's really, really cool to see an open source version of it. Yeah. But this is really cool. So yeah, the window. So there's a window for opportunity on this. So just like we had a window on auto suggestions in the editor, which has really stuck. The new window was like talking to LLMs directly in the IDE. That didn't really stick because it wasn't powerful enough. But then we got agents in the IDE, and that seems to be might just be a window because we've now gotten these CLI tools instead. That seems to be a better solution. Like the like Claude Code and all of this, they rather integrate with the IDE, but you don't run it in the full IDE context. But that maybe we'll have both. But now we're gotten to the point where there's a new window opening, which is the agent running as a process, and which means you can do it asynchronously, you can do it in the cloud, and so on. So there's going to be a new set of products based on that. And this is one of them, All Hands, and yeah, the thing I've been working on. Okay. So I'm gonna fix these issues, and then I think we're gonna try like a new stream. I'm gonna fill up my account here. Yeah, I'm gonna fix those issues, and then we're gonna try again. As I said, the most important thing is the issue tasks, that they work really well. Yeah. Yeah, like some of these models, it depends on the size of the code base, of course. But some of these models, they have a pretty, like they state they have like repo size context, but there's more in the context than the actual code with a refactor. You also have to fill up like as you go, kind of. But the thing that I think we miss, like to kind of take the other side of that point, I'm not sure if it's such a big limitation, because what it's doing now, the agents, is not like looking at the whole code base and then figuring out how to refactor. What it does is that it collects context and writes notes as it goes, and then these notes are the actual context it's gonna operate on moving forward. And that's the thing that's baffled me the most, is that I thought to be able to work on a code base, you would have to like, what's it called? Oh, I haven't worked on this for a long time. When you do RAG, like you do these databases for AIs, what's it called? the thingy, like when you convert text into vectors, like a vector database. I can't remember the term. Like I thought you would have to have like a vector database of your code for like an AI to kind of find things. But it's crazy to see Claude, how it actually just uses low-level tools like grepping and stuff to find context. It's really, really cool. And then it rewrites its to-dos based on what it's finding. So, but yeah, if you ask it to like refactor like a huge code base to like a completely different framework or something like that, that would take many tries, I think. But it would for a human as well, right? So, but yeah, oh, I'm gonna write that down. Make the case for time spent, because I think we're forgetting, like we kind of have this expectation, like with ChatGPT, like you should get the response immediately. Like AI is going to be super fast. Like that's the superpower of an AI, is being fast, but it's not. It's going to spend maybe a little bit less time than you would, but it's still going to spend a lot of time on fixing these things. I think that's kind of the biggest realization the last few months, is like there's not going to be a super powerful one prompt model. It's going to be like this long reasoning. Like there's a new metric that's being used now, is for how long can a model iterate, like in minutes, before it stops. And that wasn't much in the beginning, but now they can run on their own for like an hour or something. And that's part of managing complexity, is you have to spend a certain amount of time on it. It's not about, if you're just smart and you just fill up your context, you're going to have this one prompt solution. Yeah, anyways, I think I just wanted to start the stream and talk about this. And then I'm going to make these fixes, and we're going to continue trying to fix open source issues. So I'm going to look at my own repos first to do to apply it there. And when we're kind of happy about what it's doing, we're going to try to go into the wild, and we're going to try to fix some issues and then spread the service that way. So I have some money saved up. I'm getting this money back. Well, some of it. Actually, not that much. Anyways, and then we're gonna try helping out on other open source issues. Oh yeah, the Mobic state thing. Yeah, we could apply it there. But I'm not. Yeah, that's also a case where I'm not sure if I would use an AI. But it's working, isn't it? The lazy Mobics. It's just a debugger. Some stuff missing in the debugger. Okay. No, I think that's the plan. I'm still on my vacation. It's my final week. So I'm going to be playing some games, relaxing. And then, yeah. Okay. That's the plan. Thanks for jumping in. And then, yeah, I'll just jump on again when I'm ready to do another iteration. I'm just thinking if there was something else I wanted to offload. No, I don't think so. Are you gonna send me an interesting link? Yeah, please do. No, this is good. I got to talk about everything that's been spinning in my brain. We have some action points, and then how to continue iterating. That's all we need. Cool. Bye for now. Have a good day, and then we'll speak soon.